I guess it's me today, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Mindful Warrior Podcast. I'm Eben Britton. Joined as always by my brother, Nate Jackson. Nate, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Real good.
It's a good day.
How you doing?
I'm doing damn good.
You got your coffee in your hand?
Got a coffee rolling. We got Gandalf, trusty gray pit, beautiful dog.
You guys can't see this at home, but what I'm looking at is Eben, who used to be over 300 pounds playing in the NFL. He's all swole and jacked up. He's lost a bunch of weight. What's your secret? Jenny Craig?
I have a few tips that we could go into in this podcast.
Maybe later.
We've got Jed, our producer, on the ones and twos.
What up, Jed? That was Jed.
There he is. The man.
And we got Gandalf, the dog.
Gandy.
Hey, Gandy.
There he
Gandy.
is. Oh, give us a quote, Gandy. And most importantly, we've got our brother, our good friend, Jim McAlpine. Jim's visiting L.A. Jim, great to have you, brother.
Quite happy to be here.
It's pretty awesome to have Jim here. Jim is the founder of the 420 Games, pretty badass event that combines healthy living and an active lifestyle with cannabis. He's got a 4.20 mile marathon as well as a CrossFit type obstacle
Technically,
course.
it's just a 4.20 mile run because a marathon then makes it more than that.
There you go.
4.2 mile marathon.
Anyway, it's a fantastic event. Been to a number of them. Excited to continue that. He also has the New West Summit, which we can get into if he'd like. But, let's kick this thing off. What are you doing in L.A., man? It's great to see you here other than hanging out with us.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons I came down here because I knew I got to be on this show. So that's pretty much.
That's number one.
Yeah, number one is that.
What was
obviously,
number two?
A far second is I came down for it's called the State of Cannabis in Long Beach, cannabis convention, and a lot of great speakers and just expanding my knowledge base in the cannabis industry. It's fun now because I actually. For about 20 years was known as Snowbomb Jim, the ski and snowboard guy. So I like being introduced as the 420 Games guy and all that stuff. I'm the weed guy now. I used to be the ski and snowboard guy. But honestly, like the 420 Games for me has been awesome because literally I think that's why you and it's how we met, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's how we kind of sparked this whole thing.
Yeah, sparked indeed.
This brotherhood.
Sparked it. I want to ask you about.
Pun intended.
Definitely intended.
Do you want to ask us about the edibles we took before this?
All right.
And when those are going to kick in?
Yeah. Have you eaten edibles today?
No comment. No, yes. Today I did. I like to talk about it because it keeps me on point. My flow's feeling fine. It hasn't kicked in yet, and I'm going to say when it did, but I took 75 milligrams of vegan black lava salt caramel by Choose Love, and it's really smooth, great quality medicine, and just really, honestly, keeps my mind nice and oiled.
When you say medicine, why do you call it medicine?
Because I literally don't take it to get high. I take it really because my mind I have an ADD mind, and I'm always racing, and like unless I'd be prescribed something else pharmaceutically, and like when I take marijuana, cannabis, weed, it just helps me do my day, do my job, be a better dad, and so I use it as medicine not to get stoned.
Cool. And so you came here for the ideas of cannabis. What did you say it was called?
The State of Cannabis.
State of Cannabis. What type of people? Not type of people, but who goes to this? Who goes to this?
I mean, mostly only people with dreadlocks and tie-dyes, and there's a lot of Taco Bell and video game people. No, I mean, all in all, the State of Cannabis, it's like you go by these events. Using this one in Long Beach is a great example. Like, there's congressmen there speaking. There's lawmakers and assemblymen and lawyers. Most everybody's in a suit. It's like any other conference because this is an industry that's legitimate. So like you see normal people and legitimate businessmen and women, really.
And how are they commingling?
It's cool, like it's fun because I'm lucky because I come out of the ski world, I guess, and our conventions were pretty cool. But I've been to a lot of software conventions and everything else, and it's just the same as any other business convention, and it looks the same, and everyone's in a suit. But there's this like really palpable vibe of excitement and camaraderie and friendship, like. People aren't mad at each other yet, really. Like there's so much potential in front of us. It's like we're the enlightened ones, honestly. Like, I feel like when I'm there, I look over and I'm like, yeah, bro, we're the first to the party. Like, it's really cool. It's a really fun time.
And so, where do you see it all going now that it's legal here? I mean, so you see people in suits. Where there are people in suits, there are more people in suits with more money, and pretty much very soon, cannabis is going to get corporatized in this state to the point that's going to push fucking hang loose dudes like you and me out. So, what are you going to do as a cannabis entrepreneur to prevent that from happening?
I like that question, and I'm doing my best. I mean, so I'm one of the guys outside of athletics. I'm shaping the industry in terms of I'm a show producer. I put on the New West Summit. Richard Branson spoke at my show last year.
Is the New West Summit similar to the thing you went to today?
It is. Mine is. My show, New West Summit, is more based. It's similar, but mine's about technology and science. So we really focus on the future of the industry through the lens of technology. So think like Consumer Electronics Show or TechCrunch Disrupt. We're very much about the tech angle of cannabis, talking about efficiencies and ROIs in agri-tech and hydrotech and lighting. But at the end of the day, Richard's a perfect example. I like to wear my flip-flops and my hat, but I get in a suit too. I'll be suiting up to go to this. The real suits, the nice suits, the billionaires, the tobacco industry, the alcohol industry, those guys aren't here yet because of federal legality. So What you're asking is like, how can, that's why we're looking at each other and trying to be friendly right now too, because we'll all get crushed by those guys. So I think we're all trying to work together, and that's why you feel this vibe at the events where like we're looking over there and we're working together to lock out those big dollars right now the best we can. It's going to be almost impossible, borderline, to do that completely. But
are they going to cap space for grow operations and things like that?
Yeah, and the laws are still being made. Like, it's legal as of now in California to possess, grow, but you can't like do any commerce with cannabis until 2018. And the laws haven't even been set yet. They're still making them, and like we're just up to 2018. So it's very frustrating to not know how to be compliant.
Yeah. So where do you go to find out the newest information about the Prop 67 and how it applies to us?
I mean, honestly, I just Google it. I have a Google thing.
Yeah, but is it like it's just different articles and different that people write, or is it?
Yeah.
Is there a government website that's like keeping people abreast?
I use Google to find that.
Right on.
I just don't know the website, but I guess where I'm going with it though, like, because I love your question, man. Like, to me, I think it's super important that it's tobacco and alcohol and money that comes from these conglomerates that give nothing. They don't care about this world that we really all do. Right. So it's our opportunity to circle the troops and block them out as best we can. And that's not just like getting dispensaries and brands out there. It's like regulatorily making sure we're lobbying to do things that are going to be in our favor down the road versus, the alcohol industry puts millions and millions and millions of dollars into cannabis elections in every state, and we just don't have that money really yet. So
right.
I think it's just, I want to be one of the guys that keeps us all together as a unified front in the industry. Like, my show's very inclusive, and I try and get along with everyone, whether they're a competitor or not, because like they're my friend and they're my ally. They're not really my someone I'm competing with. We're teammates.
Right. And you are, in a broad sense, a cannabis entrepreneur, but more specifically, you host these summits and you host these events, but you also sell product, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting into the California marketplace with an edible line called Canna Athlete. I've got a couple partners, and it's we've got 2 products. Yeah, so I'm by no means like a big guy.
You got your caramels too. Caramels.
That's my caramels, and that's my buddy Bryce. That's his company.
Okay.
He's my partner in Canna Athlete, but I'm not part of that. I just
cool.
I just love those, and he gives them to me for free, so I eat a lot of them.
They're great.
So yeah, I mean that's a customer who's happy with the product.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I think just like it. Another fun thing to watch is just like, I'm a branding and marketing guy, so I love creating brands and watching how people perceive brands and watching the cannabis industry, like the progression and the professionalism in the last couple years. When I first came in, like, it was borderline embarrassing the way products were branding and representing themselves. And you're now seeing things being put into the marketplace with like really true forethought, really, talented marketing and design that goes behind it. So like that whole professionalization and everything else, I just like seeing, and it's fun to be in the cannabis industry knowing what I'm doing is completely legal. Right. At the end of the day, you could paraphrase it as I sell weed, but yeah, it's a great thing, and I love doing it, and it's I want to get you in, dude. I want you to start working it. Why don't you work in this industry?
I don't know, man.
Come on, brother.
Seriously.
Come on.
Let's turn this around.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. I like
Nate's J's. Boom. A little pre-roll
I don't
package.
like selling stuff, man.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I get
I don't
it.
like selling stuff. I just like pooping and moving on.
You got to do both of those
Poop
things.
and
though.
scatter, but you got to sell. You got to sell yourself, of course, to an extent.
Well, I think you're fitting your
Well, we have
way
three
in.
musketeers in this room. I've always liked hanging with both of you, and we've had some times together on the East Coast in Boston.
Yeah, man.
We were at the Yard.
Yeah,
Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard panel, baby.
Yeah,
huh?
that was cool.
So I can
Med
sell
con.
stuff,
More than-
Ebb's a multifaceted Renaissance man, as is yourself. So I mean, we'll find different role for you, and we'll be the three musketeers.
All right, man. Let's do it.
I'm serious.
All right. Well, back to you, man. Because actually, I was going to
Back
ask a question.
to Jim.
I was going to ask a question about how you feel about those old growers in Mendocino County and in Humboldt who are getting pushed right out, and they made a whole life with this plant. and they
Okay, wait a
cultivated
minute.
it.
Before we go there, can we just hold on 1 second since you're on the Narby Cosmic Serpent?
I just want to hit both angles of this.
Okay, we
Because
can
I asked
hit
about
the-
the
we can hit
corporations
the
coming
small
from this
growers.
side, and
Sure.
I want to ask about
It's a
what's
good
happening on this
question.
side.
I like
For
that
sure.
question a lot.
Because those guys are, as you know, very upset by what's going on. The price per pound is fucking dropped to what?
It's a commodity now,
right.
basically.
And so it's hard for them to do what they're doing. How is there an industrial approach to pulling them into it or to keeping them afloat some way, honoring their sacrifice for years of kind of getting this ball rolling, by making this product? What are you guys going to do for them?
Don't say you guys like. So I run this show now. All right. So hey, growers,
No,
it's
well,
all
listen,
on me.
Jim, what are you doing for the Cannabis Growers of America?
Well, Jim, you said you go to the expos and you consider yourselves very lucky to be in this moment with these people at this time when you're
Yeah.
looking at each other like we're here, we're making it happen. So if you guys have
I
that
feel
kind
like
of
Tupac.
power,
It's like it's all eyes on me.
Right,
What?
right. So-
I didn't do nothing.
so you have a very difficult task to fight off the corporate interests, keep it homegrown, and also it's hard.
What? Cause you want beef, brother? So no, listen. I have like really strong thoughts on both sides of that, quite honestly, because it's in the long and short of it, it's sad because it's an eventuality, and I don't mean to sound heartless in this because I feel really sad for the guys that just get pushed out and stomped on. But let's use some examples. Like to me, like, all right, well, there are these guys that did great that were selling records, and then the CDs things happen, or industries change and evolve, and people get pushed out because of whatever factors. So at the end of the day, it is industrial America, and things change and progress, and laws change, and that's just the way it is. That being said, how can we protect them? It's hard to do it if they can't be compliant with all the regulations, and it's very, very hard for those guys coming out. And I'm not saying that most of them do this or anything, but the attitude I've seen from the pissed off people up there, the ones that are really like, fuck all this shit, we're pissed it's legal, we don't want to see that, is more so because they don't want to comply with regulatory stuff. Like in all industries, when it becomes legal and you don't have to get locked up in an orange suit if you sell it your way, you have to comply with the government regulations, taxes, doing things with by the FDA and everything else. So there's so many rules that I think a lot of these guys, like, because they were doing it again in a different way where it wasn't legal, have an incredibly hard time adjusting to the way it's going to have to be. So I think I'd say it's over 50% of the growing marketplace that are, they're just going to get taken out, like you said, because of the structure of the way everything's going to happen. It's just, it's a sad byproduct of the way it's going to end up.
But you can still grow some at your house, and if you want some for personal use, people can still do that and enjoy that. Actually, right now, anyone can grow up to six plants at their place.
And I really want to support craft growers. Like, let's look at coffee, man. Like, I don't drink coffee really, but like if I'm going to go into a coffee shop, I don't go into Starbucks. I try and stop into like a non-Pete's or like I go to the local shit. So let's support craft growing, like craft beer's been supported. Let's not give our money, and then eventually all the craft stuff's owned by Budweiser or whatever else. But like, I want to give my money to the farmers. I don't want to give my money to the big guys, and I want to support all of those growers out there. To me, the true answer to your question is like, let's figure out how to make it the easiest way for these guys to be compliant within reason and fight for their rights to do this without the insane taxes and regulations that we're all facing right now. Because like, we're getting hit like 15 times harder than the alcohol or cigarette industry is right now. So we're just getting shut down. Like it's crazy what costs.
Are you familiar with what the tax structure is going to be like for it? Like
it's still, we don't know yet, even in California, really exactly. So they haven't told us yet.
Cool. You gonna ask something, Eben
Nisevich?
Well, you brought up that you're reading The Cosmic Serpent earlier, and that's all about shamanism and utilizing plant medicine. And in one section of the book, they kind of discuss pharmaceutical companies coming into the Amazon, kicking out these indigenous tribes that have been there for, hundreds, thousands of years. And they're, profiting off of all of these, chemical compounds that they're just reaping from the natural environment, right? And how that crosses over from, medicine and healing into basically black magic. And it's like, because they're profiting off of this thing that can help people heal, as far as that goes with the cannabis industry and cannabis plant being such a powerful medicine, everyone profiting off of it, and, via products and all these things. Hey, look at me, I got a CBD company. But, and if that, I don't know, just bringing up this philosophical idea.
Yeah, does it muddy the water?
Selling the plant, is that, this is really something, because look, to me, at the end of the day, the perfect world scenario is that we all understand how to cultivate our own food and medicine, in our own backyards.
Well, so here's a scary one. So we put all these panels together at our events, and right in line with what you're saying in a more scary capacity is, there's this guy, like no one knows truthfully what his name is, but they know him as Morpheus. And he has several patents that are actually pending through the government in the United States for specific strains of cannabis, like in a way where like literally they would be able to own the strain, whatever Kush, and if you grew it in your backyard, like you would owe them, or it would basically be owned by them in a patentable way. And it's literally like at a place where some stuff like that might be able to happen. And I'm a little tired of talking about weed all the time. I was telling Evan, because that's all I do now. So like, let's just talk about plants in general. Like, you shouldn't be able to own that stuff. No. Like, you shouldn't be able to take something from nature and then turn it into Bayer, in some big pharmaceutical company, and pisses me off.
It comes from the earth. I mean, the fact that, getting weedy and cannabis talky here.
That's what this one's about, though.
The federal government has owned the patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants since the 70s. It's crazy. That's crazy. It's in ink. It's in black and white via our government that these fucking chemical compounds have this effect on our bodies. They know it.
And they own it.
But despite that,
and they own it.
Despite that, you got to get an entire Congress of very distracted older white men who have no interest in this at all to pay attention to it and think it's worthy of their interest enough to sign legislation, which is not on their mind.
That was something that really, I went to this ASA Unity conference, Americans for Safe Access, in D.C. It was actually right before I flew up from there to Boston for the Harvard panel with you guys. And I'm listening to this guy talk, and he's saying that Orrin Hatch, we'll get there.
Orrin Hatch.
He was saying that, one of the problems with cannabis legalization is that this thing is so far down on people's priority list of what this country needs help with, that it's like it's never getting the attention it deserves. It's never getting the legislation
That's why it needs an executive order from Donald Trump.
Yeah, but look at him. Look at him, Mr. Businessman. He's, parading around with this facade of with Jeff Sessions and, going to this super conservative, throwing this super conservative blanket over himself. And, he's talking about cracking down on the drug crisis.
And I would not be surprised to see him use this as another way to divide to his culture wars. You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
why not?
Because
Why not?
Probably on his list.
He
for
throws
sure.
bombs on little hot button issues by making a declaration and making people choose
Dividing.
sides, and then boom, you're either, you're either with us or you're against us.
Well,
You're-
what's interesting to me is he has signed Chris Christie, who's like Mr. I'm stopping the pot potty.
Chris Christie, that guy's cool.
Fuck him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So
he's
anyway,
got a fupa.
Love him.
but he has signed Chris Christie to the
He has
special
3
task.
fupas, man. He doesn't just have
dude.
one.
That's true. And he has his belt high above it. It's just that awkward fucking owning your fupa in a way
That's
that makes
why
us all
he
uncomfortable.
closes beaches because of that fupa, and then he just sunbathes with his
Yeah,
fan.
dude.
How about that shit? How about that fucking
And then
shit?
and then he just
Does
gets
that
away
piss
with it.
you off
He has
as
to
a-
keep
as a
going.
person? Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I understand fake news, the idea of fake news, because it's really lacks context is what it's really about. Do we know that's exactly what happened with Chris Christie and the beach and all that? Maybe he actually shut a beach because it was or whatever, for whatever reason, and then he was. I mean, was it really as malicious as they made it out to seem?
I'd like to think so.
Nate?
Yes, pretty much.
I don't know what you're arguing, bro.
What I'm arguing is that our perceptions of politicians
Bro,
are sometimes
What are you doing?
skewed by the
Sure,
fucking media.
sure.
we
I agree
consume.
with that.
Of course,
All right, but
of
don't use
course.
Chris Christie as an
Absolutely.
example in
Fuck
that
yeah.
one.
I just
instance.
made fun of his fupa.
3 fupas.
Triple
No
fupa.
fucking way, dude.
It's a
Yeah.
troopa.
Yeah, he's a
When you have
douche.
3, it's called a troopa. Actually.
Troopa. Koopa Beach.
He should slim down to a dupa, and then just maybe get down to a fupa.
That'd be super.
And yeah, that would be nice. But bump. Please tip to waitresses.
Well, I don't know.
So let's
I
get
mean,
back into the plants.
plant medicine.
Yeah, the plant
These
medicine.
things have been around for thousands of years, utilized by indigenous peoples around the world.
Do you believe that cannabis can be used to treat all of your ills?
I
If
don't
done
know.
with different strains and different
I don't know
temperatures.
that that's true, but I know that it handles a lot of them.
Not
Is
for-
there anything weed can't do?
It's definitely the best plant on the planet. It won't cure everything, but you know what? Like the thing that I like beyond like our patentable shit and whatnot, I get to swear on podcasts, right? So I can
course.
say fucking. I'm gonna say cunt. You can cut it out because I just want to say a bad word
You
like
did.
that. Yeah, all right,
you
cool.
Can, yeah.
Wow, coming heavy today. I think
We're getting dicey.
my edible just kicked in.
I swear it wasn't me. It was the edible.
Mine too.
What were we talking about again?
We were talking about cannabis's
medicine.
ability to cure all your ills
Well,
or
so
take the place of modern medicine.
So I was doing some acupuncture and looking at some herbal stuff, and I started turning things around in the acupuncturist's office, and almost every one of them said cannabis at some point of all the different herbs in ancient Chinese medicine, which is probably a really offensive white way to say it, but you know what I'm talking about, like the true Eastern medicine that I think is really like what we should all be following. All of that, if you look at the labels and you look back through like not just the last 100 years here, you look everywhere. Like cannabis has been a big piece of most all of the solving, healing, herbal remedies.
I think
What
here's one of the issues I think that we're at in Western civilization is that everything is totally compartmentalized. So like our health, for instance, we've just handed that over to these medical professionals or doctors to tell us what's wrong with us. We no longer rely on our own instincts. We don't have any idea about, the natural things that are available. And so, we don't live in a proactive, preemptive way that, we're keeping ourselves healthy, for the future, rather than like just fucking flying down the road at 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle, eating all the fucking cheeseburgers and drinking and, eating the candy bars and all the shit, all the processed food as much as we can take in and, just saying, fuck it. Oh, well, that's what happens. You have a heart attack, oh, well, we all get cancer one day, like having,
You lived a good life.
I think that's a mentality. And it's just, I think it's much different than Eastern philosophies, more ancient and
Well, Eastern, you're so
peoples.
spot. I love what you're saying. Like, it really, truthfully, dude. Like, because our philosophy, I've never thought of it this way before, but like, our philosophy is like, here's this dude who went to school. He's going to tell you exactly what's wrong with you. And Eastern's like, figure yourself out,
Yeah.
And I I personally hate. I go to Kaiser. I got really angry and literally I got up and kind of in a doctor's face the other day because I was talking to you guys. I've had a few health issues and this doctor was so dismissive with me, and the way he talked to me was literally he just wanted to check off some boxes, didn't want to hear what I had to say. He didn't want to go out of his way, and I was pissed, and I actually filed a report with Kaiser about this doctor. And in my history of health, I've always kind of trusted myself a little bit, and most of the time when I'll go see another doctor, and usually it's not like I know I'm right or I know the medical stuff, but I know myself, and usually the next doctor kind of confirms oh, you're going down the right path. You get what's right. You get what's up with your own body. Why don't people think like that?
I think it's because we've learned that. We've learned to turn things over to people and not be responsible for things, not be accountable for things.
We're highly medicalized from a young age. We get vaccinated for a lot of stuff. We go to the doctor a lot. When we get sick, we take medicine. I mean, when we're kids, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We drink medicine, and we eat medicine, and we take medicine.
Yeah.
It's really ingrained in us. Do we need all that medicine all the time?
It's American culture, though, man. This is a weird analogy. There's a stairway and there's an elevator. 95% plus of America waits for an elevator to go up one flight of stairs. We're conditioned to take the easy way out. Now we're programmed to want that. That's the saddest part. It's almost like we've made our own choice in a way. We want to. We stand there waiting for an elevator. Why don't you? I like to park on the outside of a parking lot and walk in, not only so my car doesn't get dinged, but to get some steps in and enjoy a little walk. People don't think like that. It's sad.
The highest aspiration of American consumers is to sit exactly still, press buttons, and have everyone bring the world to you.
Yeah.
Well,
I fucking entertain you. I mean, you can order a car from your phone. I saw that. What do they bring it to your house?
Absolutely anything.
Fucking slide the keys under the mat.
You get anything.
You never have to look at
Weed,
anybody.
Food, cars, anything.
And then you order food, yeah.
But I think that's really what this podcast is about, what we're talking about, and, how I tend to break up my cannabis interviews is I came from this family that was very holistically minded, whether they knew it or not. You exercise, you eat good food, you eat vegetables and, get good protein, and you eat organic. We did that. And, the last resort was going to a doctor to get prescribed some medicine to heal us. It wasn't really the way our family functioned. And, I think that's what makes cannabis so important in that approach to life is it's about your food, it's about what you're eating and what you're putting into your body. It's about the movement and how you're getting blood flowing around your body and sweating and removing toxins, pushing toxins out, getting oxygen into the cells, reoxygenating your body. And that's the thing too. I think, exercise, people are really afraid of, getting sweaty. People are afraid of getting tired. And what's buzzing?
Someone's phone.
Oh, it's Elena McAlpine.
We're not going to give her any airtime today.
But people
Put it on speaker.
You don't have to go out and fucking lift the world in the weight room and go run a marathon to get something worthwhile in. You could go take a walk around your neighborhood. Yeah. You could go on a hike. You could just fucking go to a yoga class. It's about just getting moving and keeping this meat vehicle, as Joe Rogan likes to call it, keeping this thing fucking juiced and flowing and moving and loose. And I don't know, I think that, we depend too much, we let too much go, especially with our food. People are like, I'm too busy, I gotta eat shit, and
well, that's a lot of that has to do with our people's feelings about time and what they have, how much time they have and what they have to accomplish and how distracted they are by not being able to leave a task where it is. The people take it with them all day long. You can't leave work by itself and go home and forget about it. Now we have the phone with us at all times.
Which is your computer more than
everything
the phone.
is on this thing.
Yeah, it's not
and
just
so
the
it has
phone.
this weight to it, my whole entire life, my financial... How will they know who I am without this? Do I exist without it?
Yeah.
And so people's, the food is horrible.
On food also, depression's a huge, to me, like depression's one of the things, if I can help bring awareness to or cure, I think I've talked to you before. I know I've talked to you about it. I want to help. And I strongly, I know this for a fact. People take all these pills, and I believe antidepressants work, but your gut is what I think truthfully regulates your true mind, and making sure you cleanse your gut, you use probiotics or whatever it is to get it in its ideal state. Like a huge, I don't know the percentage, but there's a huge percentage of your mental health is regulated from right here, man. Like that's where it's at.
No doubt.
So what is your idea of a good diet?
I'm preaching right now when I'm not practicing very well, but I mean, so I just try and keep like, I'm almost 50, so like I don't eat in a training capacity where I'm trying to like get a ripped six pack. I just try and keep like my calorie count, under about 2,000-ish a day. I try and not eat too many carbs, but I don't deny myself much. I eat around 2,000 calories a day. Try and keep like the kind of normal protein carb balance and not drink too much sugar. I don't drink soda. I drink water, and I make simple choices that, like, I don't eat chips. I do the simple things that take 300, 400, 500 calories out of my day by not having a soda and chips with my sandwich. Like, as an old man, that helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
You guys can still have chips.
I have
Ev can still have chips for sure. I don't.
Ev can have chips, man. Are you entering any like a fitness competition or something?
I'm entering.
Yeah. I want to see you in a Speedo.
Yeah, man. Let's see the routine.
Mr. Olympia.
You've been working on the routine?
My flex routine?
No, it's one of those those fitness competitions.
Like one-hander push-ups and like dun dun dun.
No,
a little dance.
No, I haven't done any of that. I mean, we're
about the same size. We could kind of dance on the backside and support it.
We are not the same size, dude.
Oh, come on.
How tall are you?
I like to say I'm 6'2", but I think I'm 6'1".
That's pretty. How much you weigh?
That's pretty good.
No, it's pretty tall. Like that. I guess what I meant was that's taller than I thought.
You're like, yeah, that's all right.
That's okay.
It's pretty good.
Hey, little guy.
Decent.
Hey, we have the little guy in the show today.
Whatever, man.
I used to be 6'2". I've shrunk.
You have not shrunk. You're not old enough to shrink.
Come on, man. I don't have hair.
That's true.
Anyways, let's get back to like the point.
Food. What do we eat?
No.
What do you guys eat? Like I
eat lots of vegetables. I eat my veggies.
So if you could actually hold on before you describe this, I want you to provide a little more context to it because you used to weigh over 300 pounds, like we were talking about before.
I've been writing this. I just started.
And so,
writing
like,
this.
tell us about what you ate then versus what you eat now. How you were able to lose that weight.
Contrast.
What you did in that regard.
When I left the league, I weighed 330 pounds.
Wow, that's a big boy.
I was fucking big.
And what are you now?
240.
Oh, wow, dude.
90.
Yeah.
I got above 240 when I was playing. Isn't that funny? I was weighed more than you do right now.
That's crazy.
Yes, so stupid.
It feels good.
Yeah.
Back then, man, I fucking just ate from sun up to sundown. Like huge breakfast, shakes and snacks and a huge lunch and then more shakes and snacks. And I ate every 3 hours something, just like massive amounts.
You talking about
food.
while you were at work?
While I was there.
You drinking Gatorade all day?
Yeah, drinking. No, I stopped. Gatorade, I was really privy to high fructose corn syrup and too much sugar. I'm not.
I wasn't for the first couple of years, man.
I won't fuck with it.
It messes up your teeth, too.
The problem is,
Mountain Dew mouth?
Yeah, from Gatorade.
The problem is I have a severe cramping deal. I sweat my ass off, so I get super dehydrated. And I mean, I was a guy. I had full body cramps getting IVs. 2 days a week in training camp. It was a fucking nightmare.
2 IVs,
seizing up.
Wow.
But so I just ate all the time, huge meals. Always meat, veggies, like a potato, bread, whatever, anything and everything.
And you're pumping iron.
I'm lifting, I'm pumping. Yeah.
I will break you!
Doing that.
I'm hungry!
And it's definitely been, a progression or an evolution since leaving the league. At the end of that last season, I got really into this ketogenic thing, which is basically you do no carbs. It's a high-fat diet. So you're doing a lot of avocado and nuts and coconut oil, and I'll just have like a tablespoon of coconut oil.
But you can eat as much as you want, like as much meat and
veggies as you want, pretty much. So I got into that.
What's that doing to your poop?
Good. It's been good.
Good poop?
Yeah.
Firm?
No, because I make sure to get the
Color?
veggies going.
In the morning?
Have you ever used
Solid.
Yeah.
Dark brown.
Okay.
You know,
Nothing orange. None of those orange poops.
No cracks in it?
Occasionally.
Okay.
I've had them all. I've had them all.
Cool.
So anyway, but now these days I've really refined it down to, fasting is a big deal. Fasting. I do intermittent fasting. Every day I get a 16-hour fast in. So that's from about, 8 o'clock at night. Don't eat after that till noon the next day. And so the reason for that is a number of things. You start producing ketones. Your liver starts sending ketones to your brain, which says start burning fat. So it turns you into a fat burning machine. There's also this stuff gets released. Great for football players. I wish I had been more mindful, more educated on fasting and brain health when I was playing, because your brain starts releasing this stuff called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which basically starts creating new neurons, new brain cells in the brain, new connections. It starts basically you get happy. I notice I get really happy around the 12th hour of my fast. So, 8 o'clock in the morning, I talking about depression and being a guy who suffers from, I definitely have depression. I battle it all the time. Family history of it, anxiety attacks, all that. And this really helps me. It's another tool I use. And I really find that it has a profound effect on my mental state, on my mood. It's changed my relationship with food and my understanding of the concept of hunger. It really was, I used to be, the hunger would be a thought. It would be like this crazed sensation of like, I need to eat something. Now I believe that hunger is really like a feeling. It's like this guttural reaction that your body needs fuel rather than this thought. And that's really a difference I've felt. And food tastes good. I remember, man, at that end stage in the NFL, I was so sick of eating. I was tired of food. Like it was like a chore to eat, and be that big, and that sucks.
Same.
And I've really, revitalized that. Food is fantastic. I definitely cook a lot more, and really I keep it simple, man. I don't eat any bread. I fucking don't eat. So all my burgers at restaurants, I do it like, lettuce wrapped, like they do it In-N-Out and that shit. And I do no bread, very little pasta. I'll do, if I hit like a heavy weightlifting day, like a heavy leg day, I'll give myself like some extra carbs or whatever it is. But, I really keep it to veggies, fats, like nuts, coconut oil, avocados. I do my, like the bulletproof coffee thing. And, man, it's
fruit?
Changed my life. A little bit of fruit. I don't eat too much fruit. I think there's a lot of things that, there's a lot of unknown things that we don't really learn in America about eating and digestion. And like, fruit requires different digestive enzymes. So if you eat fruit, like at the end of a meal, it's just going to sit in your stomach and ferment. And, create all this bacteria and gas and shit.
That's assuming that your body can't pass the food in a timely manner?
Right. That's like if you had fruit.
Like what if you poop a couple times a day, your bowels move well?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The fruit will not ferment if it's not in there very long.
Well, that's to say that you have a healthy gut, which I
can just tell when it's moving through.
Well, yeah, I think that, but you're a guy that has a good handle on that, I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm asking you. I just want to know, like, is it, is a lot of that dependent on?
No, exactly right. If you're somebody that eats like shit most of the time and, then you decide you're going to eat like fruit because that's going to be your healthy decision of the day and you're eating that right after your, Big Macs,
right.
That shit's just going to sit on there and fucking ferment and fuck you up.
Huh. Yeah.
And
know that.
but if you're somebody who's conscious of what you're eating, you're conscious of how it's making you feel. I mean, really, the reason I changed the way I eat, man, is I felt like shit. It was that simple. You know, my thinking was foggy. I was in not a good place. You know, physically, I was very inflamed and puffy and, you know, bloated. And, you know, switching to this, I call it a plant-based diet because I'm even switching, you know, I think it's the way our meat is processed in this country, it's fucked up. You know, it's poorly done. It's a bad industry, the meat industry. So I really try to, if I am going to eat meat, I try to do, you know, the top quality grass-fed as local as possible. I eat fish. And, you know, I don't know, man. I feel really good. I'm still, you know, in this mindset of like, I don't want to get too small, you know, but I think I'm still a pretty big guy. You know.
Hey, shrimp!
You're
tiny
so
little guy
you're so
over
big
here.
it makes me think I'm the same size as Nate when we're
Yeah.
next to you. So
Exactly, man.
No,
You're
but
the
I
giant.
mean,
We're the
food,
two just dudes.
just food is so important though, man. Food is so fucking important to
True
your
that.
own, to your well-being.
and actually, the lighter you get, probably the better you'll feel.
I feel fantastic.
I mean, you gotta
I
care-
feel the best I've felt. My back is not in a good place. Like
really?
I'm a little bit, you know, I keep myself in really good shape. I fucking exercise and train almost every day, but you know, if I take 2 days off, I start to stiffen up like a fucking board and I can't move, man.
I got
And
this weird tennis elbow thing going on.
Yeah. Oh,
where like
yeah.
I can't grip anything with my left hand
Oh,
right now.
that's
Yeah,
that
it's-
sucks.
and I've been working on it.
Yeah.
I don't play tennis. I don't know how I got it, man. But it's weird stuff will pop up
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
My shoulders and arms
Oh yeah.
and neck and back.
And I've like been looking at myself in the mirror and I'm just totally like twisted. My shoulder, nothing is straight. My hips are
Yeah.
rotated.
you ever done Rolfing before? I've always,
Yeah.
because I look at myself too, and I've always wanted to just have that full myofascial like.
Dude, I had a fantastic guy in Jacksonville. His name's Derek Gill. You could probably find him. He's in Jacksonville though. But
Have you done that?
he was a rolfer.
it's
This
really
guy,
cool.
after my back
It's
injury,
those plastic
and then the
things that kind of
infection,
scrape out.
No. It's basically you know, they work you from the feet up and they realign all of this stuff we're talking
It
about.
hurts. Like it's like.
And he does walking and you walk to basically find the balance. He looks at you and they, you know, he or she looks at you and they kind of find where you're imbalanced. There's adjustments, there's massage. It's very deep tissue massage.
Like in places like your psoas and shit, like
Yes.
not like where it really fucking
Yeah.
doesn't.
Oh,
feel
dude,
good.
he did.
So
he
as
did
we
this,
walked out, what do you mean?
he did these fingers in the nose.
Oh yeah, and they go in
And
your
like
mouth. They go in your mouth
You've
and
got
stuff.
like 3 fucking canals in your nose, and he would literally put a fucking glove on, lube his pinky up, and this dude was like 6'7", and he'd finger my nose and open up these pathways, and I'd come out of there, man. My fucking head was like, it felt like I could breathe. It felt like I hadn't breathed in my entire life.
Wow.
Like it felt like
I
my
use breathe
mind
right
was
strips
clear.
for that now.
Did you?
Breathe rights are great. I
They
wore
actually
one
are
every
great.
game.
I
wore one for
use them
every
to
game.
sleep at night.
Yeah.
Literally, it like changes my
Oh, they're
breathing
the
for
shit.
sure.
Did you come?
I did
Pre-came.
not.
He
I did
pre-came.
not.
Any
Just a
fingers in
tiny
He
your-
might
step.
have. He might have. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
No,
the
but it's good
procedures that
stuff. It's
a lot
good
of procedures. There's a lot of quack science out there when it comes to like
Let's talk about some quacky science.
like chiropractors and healers and new age people and
There's a lot. I believe in a lot
I'm
of
a
it.
huge fan of chiropractic. Actually, are you just saying some of them, or do you
some
not like
chiropractors are dealing with mental tricks and like
Chiropractors in general are weird and kind of scammy, right?
they
Like,
can be. I mean, because there's a lot of room.
I
There's
think
a lot of gray area.
There's a lot of dark medicine being practiced
Yeah.
in the chiropractic field for sure.
And even in a lot of the therapy techniques that ART, active release therapy, which is a good technique, how effective, I don't know. It's always subjective because they strength test you prior, they strength test you after, and they so they can manipulate the strength test because it's them doing it,
Right.
to convince you that your strength has improved through this treatment.
Oh, right. I know
You know
what
what I
you're
mean?
talking
So it's
about.
like,
now.
hold your arm
stand
out.
here and like all of a sudden,
And then they push down, they can't move it, and then they do this stuff to you, and then they like put your arm up, and then it moves down.
See?
Okay. So you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of healing is done with the mind. And you can actually heal
For
your
sure.
body like we were talking about with
Yeah.
your mind. And so sometimes their voodoo techniques are effective because it convinces you you're healing.
Yeah.
It's like a placebo effect of sorts.
Exactly, dude. So
Here are some things that I believe. Though. I think I've had some good chiropractors.
no, so I love my chiropractor in
Yeah.
Denver. I think he's very, very good.
Yeah.
But I've just seen swirling around the world of injury, of recovery,
Yeah.
of rehab. There are people whose techniques are I don't think as effective as they say they are.
In
For
the
sure.
world of good
No
chiropractors,
question.
though, you know, like there's obviously the low back one where they get you, but like there's that one where they have your neck and you're trying to relax, and in your head, you know, like and
Oh,
and
God.
then when they get a good one, I like to call it a time traveler because like you just snap so much that like it feels like the entire world just like,
Yeah. I
Oh,
could
it feels
use
so
that.
And then you
yeah.
wake up and he's fingering your nose. And
oh
he's,
yeah, he's on top of you with his finger in your nose. It's
Here's
nice.
something I'm going to throw out to you guys that I believe in. I've had some work done with these Maori people that they have this. They stand on you. It's a very deep tissue massage, and there's actually a lot of like emotional therapy involved as well, of just kind of releasing old feelings and shit like that. And there's this whole technique called emotional coding. I'm not sure if it's the same thing that the Maori practice. However, it sounds the same, where it's basically that, you know, all of these experiences that we have throughout our life, these emotional traumas, psychological, whatever it is, we store these things in our tissue, you know, around our body. And these places hold this tension throughout our life unless we, you know, dive into it, work on it. And so, you know, a lot of what this guy does.
heavy emotional
My dude.
experience cause physical response in the tissue.
Or you store that memory or that experience, that trauma in a part of your body subconsciously. You know, that's talking about a lot of, I think, Eastern medicine where they do, you know, especially reflexology, where different parts of the foot hit different parts of, you know, your body, or, you know, a knee injury means this, you know, like you're going through that, like you're out of alignment or you're out of focus or something like that.
And people who get an arm or a leg amputated still have phantom pains.
Right.
They actually have a feeling, sensation in the thing that's
Exactly.
gone. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that, you know, a lot of it, there's a lot of wacky, wild stuff out there. I mean, fuck, right? Crystal beds.
Cryotherapy's rad.
Cryotherapy is something I haven't done yet, but I'd really want to do.
What about lasers? I've seen fucking
I've
lasers.
seen fucking lasers.
The blue laser, the green laser. I swear
Wait,
this
wait.
is not a joke. I
What are
once
the
had
lasers?
cold lasers. They treat injuries like they're supposed to like speed up the healing process.
Really?
I actually had a masseuse do this to me one time, and I'm not lying, okay? And he was not joking. He was massaging, and he pulled out a bottle of like ibuprofen, okay? And he took a laser, and he shined it through the bottle into my skin. And he said that the laser was picking up properties of the ibuprofen and pushing anti-inflammatory laser
Through
beams.
the plastic bottle that the pills were
I think
in?
it was like a glass bottle or something
Okay.
like that. But yeah,
When was this?
when I was with the Broncos.
Oh, you're still playing.
Yeah, I was playing
Okay.
football.
Yeah.
Definitely playing football.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like he falls into the quacky side of things right now.
I don't know. Who knows?
Well, he also my buddy.
I
who-
love you because you have such an open mind, dude.
Hey, man.
I like that. It helps me because I'm.
Well, this might affect the way you feel about this, but this guy also, my buddy Tony, he also used to see this guy, and Tony every once in a while sends me a screenshot, and this guy, this masseuse, Tony is friends with him on some social media, and this guy will comment on like fake hot girl accounts as if he's actually talking to the girl.
That's the
Like,
guy who developed this modality.
That's the guy who was doing the laser on the thing.
He did that.
so he's totally
he'd be
listening
like,
to
you're
what
so
you're saying.
hot, like you
Well,
know.
I think that's why we haven't seen many fucking lasers through bottles to heal people.
But maybe he's the genius, and we're not listening to him because of that.
Yeah, that can make you overlook something.
Who knows?
It's
You know
so
what I mean?
simple, yeah.
Stem cells. Hear a lot of
PRP
interesting
injections.
shit with stem cells. PRP. Pull the blood out, spin it around,
Yep. Put it back
separate
in.
the plasma and the
Yeah.
and the deal, re-inject the.
Yeah,
the
people are high on that right now.
Bringing it back
like it.
around though,
you inject it into your neck.
or other places.
Hot beef injection.
Yeesh.
And the sad thing is, like,
horrible.
when like where we were talking about before, though, is like if a company or somehow you could patent it, like, and they found the pharmaceutical industry found a pill that solved everything, they would lock it away in a box forever and, you know, invent all the pills around it that would make them the money. And,
But there's no way that's not possible. That's not what life is. You can't do that. And a lot of times we're just trying to plug up all these holes, and we're not meant to be all right. You know, we're always struggling for survival. We're always going to be fighting off injury, sickness. Survival itself is the game. And when we rely so much on medicine to put us back on that field, even if it's a one-shot pill, man, it's like nothing's going to take it away.
Yeah, the pill does. Yeah, exactly. That pill's not going to take away the lifetime of stupid living, you know. And
it's
like, live right. Don't look for a pill to solve it.
There's just no such thing as that, though. It's like you can't do that. There's too many moving parts in the human experience, the human body, the human mind, the chemistry of what's going on in that moment, what you already have in your gut that commingles with whatever you put in there. I don't know. You can't solve it.
The best way to think, though, like, I love the title of the show, Mindful Warrior, which is rad. And, like, you know, it all starts today here. Like, even if you've eaten like shit for 10 years, the coolest thing about the body, I think, is like, you know, and I see this in myself. Like, I didn't work out for about a year. And when I started working out for a little bit, like, quick gains, and like you eat right for a little bit, your body regenerates and your body wants to get healthy.
Yeah,
so, like, even a huge obese person, like, they can lose weight very quickly. It starts with walking. So the body's an incredible thing.
Well, no doubt. You could turn it around on a dime, baby.
Easy.
Yeah,
easy,
quickly.
Easy. So there's always hope. We just got to get ourselves in gear.
Yeah.
True that.
Well, I want to ask you this, man, because you are a cannabis entrepreneur like we've been talking about this whole time. You're also a father. You have 2 little girls. How do you reconcile not only your own relationship with cannabis and with them, but how it's perceived from outside and how people, you know, might think it is, and fighting off those stereotypes?
You know what? I think you would be good at this if you had a kid, because the answer is really just like really keeping it incredibly real. I think Eben does the same thing since our kids are the same age, but like I look back and to me, like, the way we were talked to about drugs and taught about cannabis and everything else, it was just done in the scare tactic way, in a way that wasn't using real information and propaganda, where, like, kids are smarter than people think. So I really, with my kids, it's like I just tell them exactly what's up. I personally don't judge people that do. I don't smoke in front of my girls, and I'm more of an edible guy. They see my edibles. They know, like, when I'm eating an edible, they're like, "Oh, is that a cannabis, you know, medical or whatever?" And they're interested. Cool. But they look at it so clinically and so differently than like this evil thing where it's going to make you an addict. So, like, by just being really real, like when you were asking me earlier, why do you use marijuana and medically? Like, I just talk to them like that. And I think it goes beyond cannabis too. Just like I've always found with my 5 and 8 year old, sometimes like people look at me weird because I talk to them like almost we're talking right now. Like, they're really smart girls, and I'm just like, I keep it real. There's obviously things I fluff, but just keeping it 100% kind of honest with them.
I think approaching it from the standpoint of this is medicine. You know, this is what I use to keep me healthy. You know, I think it's something that people have been drinking around their kids and having, you know, parties and all of that stuff for God knows how long. And so I think it's, you know, something that's going to be normalized. And the more that you just approach it from the standpoint of this is something to be respected, this is what this thing does. You know, like you see in Colorado, the rate of teenage use is significantly down.
Is that true?
It is 11%, and there's going to be a nation of kids that don't have tattoos because everyone has a tattoo, and don't want to smoke weed because their mom and dad like have tattoos and smoke weed. You know, like,
yeah.
I think the universal truth is that if a kid wants to do something, they're going to do it.
I kind of wonder if kids, like, I guess I was going to say not my kids, like any typical dad, but I guess kids in general, like, if you're pushed away from cannabis, like, what's the increased rate of coke use then in high school? It's probably
or
maybe
alcohol.
Goes up.
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean, alcohol, pills. I think pills is something that's probably more prevalent.
That
than
use
cocaine.
goes somewhere. It's not just people are now going to church because they're not smoking as much weed.
Right. But the fact that it's
a
legal,
scary thought.
Yeah, that's one I don't really.
5-year-old.
But the legality of it, was kind of part of the reason why it was so popular amongst high school kids, because it was illegal. You know, it was something that was
it's like
that you had to be you had to be kind of shady and make something happen in order to get it. You had to do something kind of against the law, and if you were a mischievous kid or liked to fuck around or whatever, then it was attractive. I grew up in Northern California like you did. It was everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it was part of my cultural, social landscape in high school. That's what you saw. And
it was part of life for sure.
Right. And so kids are, unless they're ill-informed or unless they believe in boogeymen, that they're going to confront these moments, which are inevitable, with some knowledge and a little perspective, and so that they won't get caught up like the ones who do believe in all that nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or the ones who don't do anything, don't take a sip of alcohol or anything until they get to college or beyond, and then after that have bad problems.
When we're in one really simple way, like, I just tell people, especially my wife didn't used to do this, but I'm always like, don't whisper the word, don't say it like it's something that needs to be hidden, not even to the kids, but like to anybody, you know, like if we're out, like she used to get really mad when I would be talking about marijuana and like a restaurant or someone next to us would hear it, you know, she'd be like, be quiet. And it's like, no, I'm going to talk about this like it's normal. And then, you know, your kids think it's normal if you talk about it. Like, because when I was a kid, if I heard someone whisper, I'd be like, oh, what's up over there, you know?
Right. So what's too early for them to try it for themselves?
That's a good question, man.
Because they're going to want to.
Yeah, so like, I think like by like, if I... on the like politician style, I would say like I think you should be 18 or 21. Like, I'm being more realistic, knowing my daughters are going to be probably the cool girls and hanging out at a party with their friends that are in Marin. Like, you know, that's life there. I can't change life. So, I mean, if my daughter's around, I'd hope she would be able to abstain until, because of all the things we've instilled in her, till like maybe 16ish or something like that. And then maybe in high school, if she's at a party or with some friends and wants to take a little puff, like, shit, I did that and I turned out okay. So I'm sure she will too.
Right. Do you have a number? Like,
I've never thought about that until you just asked me. That was the first time I've ever thought of that.
16 sounds good. You know, I get into dad headspace and I'm like having a fucking anxiety attack. But
well, you know what kind of piece it brings.
We'll have a lot bigger things to worry about than our daughter smoking a little weed, man. We've got way bigger.
That's the best thing they could be doing.
Absolutely.
You know, man, I think that it's something it's a super powerful substance, and I think that, you know, for me, I had some insane experiences with it when I was a teenager, and I'm not sure that the teenage brain is developed enough to truly handle large amounts of THC.
Especially how strong it is now.
Yeah.
Back when I first started consuming it, I was in high school, and it was brown. It was actually like tan bark.
Right.
You know, it was like dirt that I would pick up out of the yard. And then eventually, towards the end of my high school years, I got to hook up with some green bud. But still, it could have been indica, could have been sativa, could have been hybrid seeds sometimes. It wasn't well cultivated. It wasn't as pungent, as strong as it is now. Now you get consistently very high THC counts, Blue Dream, all these really, really strong weeds, and these heavy downer indicas.
And a kid, you don't have a fucking clue.
Well, we didn't have an option to take edibles. You know, our kids will probably do an edible before they smoke weed.
Which is dangerous.
Because it's way more dangerous.
Like I was telling you guys.
Way more dangerous.
What about a kid has 100 milligram edible?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You're going to lose. I mean, that's going into a fucking psychosis.
It happens all the time. I've heard several stories of someone eating the cookies in the freezer because they thought they were just cookies and they were visiting, and they spent the next 2 days in the hospital, you know, just thinking they were going to die, even though they weren't.
They were fine.
You're
totally
fine, but they don't think that, you know.
No.
Especially people unfamiliar with the feeling.
It's a horrible feeling, too. I feel bad for people that happens to just because of the experience, but then also it's probably going to turn them off of the beautiful benefits of the plant in the future of their life.
Well, tolerance is very different. Like we were talking about before, you guys ate 75 milligrams. That's what you said is a suitable dose.
Right.
For me, that would put me in a closet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
For a good 12 hours.
On the floor, dude.
You know what I mean? 10 milligrams, and I'm like, okay. And my tolerance for that is very low. And so developing an understanding of that tolerance is a hard part.
Yeah, that's a journey.
And the dosages don't always look the same. You could have a thing that's one size and it's 25 milligrams. The same size thing, just a different color wrapper, is 200 milligrams.
Right.
And so,
So what you're just saying, I just had something pop in my head. I didn't want to cut you off, but like I think right now, maybe it's just because my edibles are coming on fairly strong now. It feels really good, but like I might want to sit down now that I'm getting a little more time and be like, if my daughter's ever curious and I can tell she's starting to think about it, just be like, hey, you know what, you're old enough now. If you really want to try this, why don't you do it with me, or do it at home or go out, at least let me be here in case you feel weird or whatever. And maybe let her first experience be with someone who I can really trust, which would be me in my own house. Like that might be, I don't want to be the guy where like all the kids come and smoke weed at my house by any means.
Well, you might end up being that guy then if you do that.
Hey, people let their kids have like sips of wine and shit like that.
Yeah, they let them do all that stuff.
So.
Yeah, get them wasted, man.
Get them fucked up, man.
I'm just saying that maybe they should try it at home for the first time.
Or at least once you find out that they are into it, then you can let them know, look, don't be out doing anything crazy. If you need to be here, be here. She might feel a little uncomfortable. You're like, do you feel it now? Now do you feel it? How's it feel?
Hey
just
guys,
relax.
you want to go smoke weed with my dad? Like, man, not really.
No.
So I have a question for you guys. I don't want to keep turning this around, but this one's really interesting, and I've had a lot of people recently asking me this, and since we're on kids, with all the NFL boycott and all the stuff that's been going on lately and blah, blah, blah. Let's not even use Mr. T's name. But I've been thinking if I had a boy, and a lot of my friends have boys, and a lot of times I get asked this at the panels that we do, if you had a son, would you let your son be playing full contact football, in Pop Warner, and even in high school, like if you're talking about a developing brain, do you think high school kids should be playing full contact football? And just I'm wondering what both of you guys think about that. It's kind of interesting to see.
I don't think that the full tackle should be for kids.
No, Pop Warner's a fuck no.
Yeah, because it's too contingent on the coach, and the coach you don't know who this guy is. His football career probably didn't go the way he wanted it. Oh, yeah. He's probably super worked up, and a lot of them just want to fucking have these kids attack each other every day, and so they do hitting drills all day, and they full speed ahead.
Tough.
Yeah,
Get tough.
They're not trying to protect these kids. They're using them as chess pieces or fucking building their own little army, to take on fucking the dude from the other block who's got his Pop Warner team.
Totally.
So that's what's happening, and so I don't think they should be doing that. As for high school,
flag then for
yeah, maybe flag. I think there's a few rules changes, man, that need to be made. Just really subtle, really, really subtle. Quick history lesson. Back in 1905. Teddy Roosevelt, football, there was no forward pass allowed. It was 5 yards to get a first down. There were all these really rules that just constricted the game. It was just like a scrum, a mass scrum of just hand the ball off and bang, every play. That's what's happening. There might be a little misdirection to one side, left, right, but for the most part, it's handing off downhill.
Right.
And it was too violent. 19 kids died from football 1 year in 1905, and Teddy Roosevelt fucking loved the sport, loved trying to create these tough guys. He called it the strenuous life. And he convened a summit at the White House, football leaders from different universities and stuff, and they came up with a few rule changes. They doubled the first down distance to 10 yards. They made the forward pass legal. They established a neutral zone. They abolished these flying wedges, mass formations, and it spread the game out. Fatalities went down, and because it was less predictable, and the action spread. So I think what's happened, there haven't been any significant rule changes like that since. So the game has gotten so predictable with these 330-pound dudes who are rooted like this, and the other guys attacking them, all protecting one guy, this precious quarterback who stands there and gets protection from all these big guys, but they're the ones taking on all this carnage. CTE was found most predominantly in linemen, not guys carrying the ball. They're talking about heads-up tackling. That's not where CT is made.
Makes sense. Yeah,
it's all in the epicenter of the fucking explosion, which is the trenches, what these guys play. And so you got to find a way to spread out the trenches. And, that's, I think, what will be done.
Go to a 2-point stance.
Go to a 2-point stance. I think affecting eligibility. Eligibility. You're eligible to catch a pass now.
Yeah,
Everyone is.
O-lineman.
Everyone is.
It's a good idea.
Because what it does is it roots them.
Make the field bigger.
Yeah, maybe make the field bigger.
Maybe that makes it more fun to watch with some of those changes, even in a way.
Exactly. Maybe shortening the play clock would also maybe help because there's so much time between plays. You huddle up, you get the coach's play, you run up, you line up,
Running clock. Oh, here's something that the CFL did. No hitting in practice at all. So you only hit on game day. Coaches would hate it.
That coach would hate it, but
And they would
you know what?
that would never
Dude,
happen for real. They'd cheat.
But you know what? As a football player, I need to be
though. I think
physical
that's
a little bit during
smart,
the week.
That's a smart idea.
I think you can make something like that, a degree of that, work in the league.
You can.
You know,
You can.
take the fucking helmets off 2 days a week. You know what I mean? Wednesday and Thursday, or maybe you go Wednesday is like a full pad day, but no hitting. You could do thud. You know, you could do, and you know,
That's
obviously
basically in Denver. We went.
That actually makes a lot of
We
sense. I
went
like
Wednesday.
that idea.
Just
Thursday and Friday, no
didn't-
helmets.
yeah.
No helmets Thursday and Friday, mostly walkthrough. You get 2 walkthroughs in.
But you need to be primed for some violence, though, in
Dude,
certain
but-
ways. Hand-to-hand combat, the thud up. I mean, stuff's important to football. And if you don't practice that,
I agree.
game day is going
I
to be
agree
weird.
with that.
You
You
know,
gotta
and I
train.
think
It's
to some
training.
extent, the first couple of weeks of the NFL season are a little weird because guys aren't used to it.
Yeah.
You got to get comfortable with being under attack, comfortable with that live bullets that they call them.
I always remember that feeling of like the first day in pads and training camp, how awkward and fucked up
Yeah.
you feel. And then like by the end of the season in pads, you're like a fucking warrior in
Yeah.
armor.
Yeah, you feel like just
It's just like part
right.
of you. That's
Yeah.
like how you function.
you
like
flip on your helmet.
You'd
Like you're
walk
holding
to the
a gun.
store and
That must be
shit.
a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's got whole ear holes. You can flip it like you're spinning a gun.
Yeah.
And you just flip it on like
Yeah, it's
ready for
crazy.
war.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ready for war.
it's true, man.
You're getting me pumped up.
So I think football will survive.
So high
That's-
school though is high
I think
school?
there should be varsity football only.
Okay, that's
Don't make a freshman team. Don't make a JV team. One team. When you've hit puberty, you can play. You know what I mean? These kids who are prepubescent with little bobblenecks don't need to be running out there against guys with armpit hair who put them through the fucking ground.
And more
the
kids.
disparity in like body types.
Yeah, and being honest, I mean, more kids are not physically equipped to play football
Yes.
than there are the kids that
Yeah.
are the freaks who
Yeah.
are fucking crushing skulls out there.
Right. And those
You know
guys
what I
just
mean?
tee
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
That's where high school kids are just like, I mean, the difference in playing skill levels on the field at one time is biggest in high school.
Yeah.
And even at practice, too, you get guys who just shouldn't be out there.
They
Especially a
just
couple
shouldn't
guys
be
on
there.
every team who are just like, you know,
Dude, you're
the butt
80,
of the jokes.
You're 80
and-
pounds.
right.
You're getting thrown around like a rag doll. Why the fuck are you here? It's
Rudy!
okay. You don't have to do it.
Right. But and there's always these like inspirational moments where that dude actually makes a play at practice and everyone's like, yeah, and hoist him on their
And then
shoulders.
he gets ripped in half.
And then the next
that's
day,
not another teammate.
Really, he's just chastised and treated like shit. in the
no, I
locker
mean
room.
there is an element of like camaraderie and respect that
No.
he does earn
For sure.
when he goes through everything.
No doubt.
Because
Yeah,
all you
'cause
got to
you
do
did
is
it.
make it
Yeah.
through.
Absolutely.
And you're part of the team, you know? If you fight, if you don't give
It's
up.
like a pledge class, basically, in a way.
Yeah.
You know, you're one by the time you're done. You're fucking. Even if you're the weak link, you're part of the fucking team.
yeah, but on
Absolutely.
football, you got to be if you're on the field playing in games, you got to be holding up your end of the bargain type of
Definitely.
thing. You know, that's where it's very cutthroat. These guys we're talking about, they're on the bench. They're
Right.
part of the team, but they're not being counted on in the game. But they can earn their respect at practice, and you practice far more than you play. Football is all about practice.
Yeah.
It's all
absolutely.
practice, man.
Technique.
And no, just sheer numbers. I mean, how many football practices have you been to in your life?
Well, thousands.
4, 5, 6 times as many as games.
Yeah.
Maybe
For sure.
7 because of training camps and off seasons, mini camps.
Bye weeks.
So much practice.
Practice, practice, practice.
Wow.
Well, we blew it out today, boy.
Sure did. Jim, thanks for coming in,
Yeah,
man.
Jim,
Yeah,
that was
no.
awesome, dude.
This
Yeah.
was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I love this.
You are our first non-athlete guest, and the podcast is very new, and we're trying to get mindful warriors from all different professions and all different walks of life with interesting ideas and takes on the world, and you've definitely been that. So thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Eb.
Yeah,
Next time you're in town-
you want to plug some
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Plug your shit.
Tell us what you got working on.
Plug your shit.
Oh man, so you know what? It's just coming up now. It'll probably be old news by the time anyone hears this, but I guess in about 2 weeks, I've got the New West Summit coming up in Oakland, California. One of my highlights that you guys might like, you're out of town, you might be able to come, is George Clinton of Parliament P-Funk is speaking, and I got Rick Barry, NBA Hall of Famer, coming out.
Hell yeah, dude. And Jason Silva, that guy's
Jason
cool.
Silva's rad. He's all about the mushrooms and LSD stuff. And
yeah, he's cool.
your boy Marvin Washington's coming out.
Sweet.
Nice.
So
Marvin's
that's
an awesome dude, by the way.
Yeah, he is. And also Reggie Williams, who was out at the LA 420 games with
cool.
us. But, so that's going to be cool. That's the technology event. What I'm excited about, and I'll make it only one plug, and then I'm going to do the sappy like I love my daughter's thing at the end. But 2018 420 games, I booked the Santa Monica Pier for a 2-day event, and we crushed it last year. You guys were there. So we're going to rent out the whole pier parking lot. I'm going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. I'm trying to get with Ice Cube to get the Ice Cube tournament to come out there because Rick Barry works with them. He's a buddy of mine. And then I'm going to have an MMA match out there on the pier, kind of Tito Ortiz, old school Huntington Beach bad boy style MMA match.
Whoa,
Wow.
dude.
And
Ambitious event.
it's growing up, and
I'm
I'm even going to say it right now. Maybe I'll curse myself or I won't, but we've got a very solid deal with Domino's Pizza to sponsor the 420 games in 2018 So having a big brand come in, like global brand, is going to be a huge thing for the event.
That's big for Domino's, too.
It's two worlds that
Hell
are coming
yeah,
together.
dude.
You
Man,
know.
hey, look at you, man.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Making
Jim.
moves in the big leagues.
Building bridges.
So,
I love it.
And what was the last thing about the daughters?
And so at the end, I couldn't do this, and like I'm here right now, and I see on Facebook my wife's at home with my 2 daughters, like dealing with everything. So Mia Rose, Farrah Sky, and my wife Elena, I just want to give a what up.
What up?
What up?
Well, from Jed Greasy GC's studio here in Mar Vista, you've been listening to the Mindful Warrior podcast. Bye-bye now.
Peace. Thanks for listening to the Mindful Warrior podcast, brought to you by Athletes for Care, a health and wellness resource for athletes of all ages. Don't miss out on Nate's books, Slow Getting Up and Fantasy Man. Be sure to check out BringTheHurt.com, a pain advocacy platform dedicated to alternative healing practices. Visit BeTrueOrganics.com for all of your CBD needs. Use promo code BRITAIN, all caps 10, for a 10% off discount.